So, good evening and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're starting right now because, like I said, we do have some housekeeping to do. And so, my name is Adejisola Atiba. I'm the daughter of Aulat, the daughter of Oyindamola, the daughter of Adekweju. And I tend to introduce myself this way to pay homage to the indigenous people because they introduce themselves using their maternal generation to the third generation. I'm happy to be your host today. A little bit about me. I'm a banker. I'm an author, a community leader, and with many, many accolades by serving the community. DNA will tell you that it pays to actually serve the community because you get a lot of accolades. People get to know you. You know all the important people, like every one of you here. So I'm really, really happy to be hosting this event today. So without further ado, we're going to start with the Canadian anthem. And I'll be calling on our technical JJ to please share the anthem. So feel free to sit, stand, however you feel, as we go into the anthem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, JJ. And I'll be calling on Oriol Feolua, a high school student and volunteer with many nonprofit organizations to help us with the land acknowledgement in English. Over to you, sir.
Well, that's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to already bought me here.
In the spirit and the intent of the Truth Reconciliation Commission's recommendation, we acknowledge the traditional indigenous territories on which we gather at the beginning of all CNP meetings. By learning, understanding, and acknowledging, we wish to pay respect to Turtle Island, Mother Earth, and to the rich indigenous history of Ontario. We recognize that our work takes place on traditional indigenous territories across Ontario. We also wish to acknowledge that CNP head office is located on traditional indigenous territory of Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. This territory is a part of the District One Spoon Treaty, undertaken between the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and the island nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. This territory is all covered by the Upper Canada Treaties. We wish to express gratitude to Mother Earth for the resources we are using, and honor all the First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people who have been living on the land since time immemorial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And because Canada is bilingual, we're going to be getting Oshoboge Idode to help us with the land acknowledgement in French, also a high school student and avid volunteer for many nonprofit organizations. Over to you.
Merci. Dans l'esprit et l'intention des recommandations de la Commission de vérité et réconciliation, nous reconnaissons les territoires autochtones traditionnels sur lesquels nous nous réunissons au début de toutes les réunions du CNP. En apprenant, en comprenant et en reconnaissant, nous souhaitons rendre hommage à Turtle Island, Terre-Mère et à la riche histoire autochtone de l'Ontario. Nous reconnaissons que nos travaux se tiennent sur les territoires autochtones traditionnels de l'Ontario. Nous tenons également à souligner que le siège social de CMP est situé sur le territoire autochtone traditionnel des Hurons-Wendat, des Haudenosaunee et plus récemment sur le territoire des Mississauga de New Credit. Ce territoire fait partie du traité District One Spoon, un accord entre les Anishinaabe, les Haudenosaunee et les alliés et les nations alliées, et ce pour partager et entretenir pacifiquement les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Ce territoire est également couvert par les traités du Haut-Canada. Nous souhaitons exprimer notre gratitude à la Terre-Mère et pour les ressources que nous utilisons et honorer tous les peuples des Premières Nations, Métis et Inuits qui vivent sur le temps depuis des temps immémoriaux. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Oshoboge. For everybody that does not understand French, everything is said is correct. So, next slide, please. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're all here to talk about how we can better collaborate in our community with a focus on elevating entrepreneurial mindset. And so this is what the agenda looks like. Again, we still have a few more things to do before we actually go into the meat of why we're here today. Next slide. So we see all these amazing people, Fwange Kumba, Edosa Adams-Adode, Sheldon Williams, Didier Kofi, and Michael Okoli. They are all subject matter experts in their own right and community leaders, and they will be sharing their insights on these very important topics. And please, while they're speaking, I would recommend if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A. Next slide. So, CMP has been in the business of changing lives for the past 5 years. We started in 2018, and we always do events. Since January, we've been having events every 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we had the International Women's Day event, Women Elevating Women, where we brought in powerful women to actually talk about how we might continue to elevate ourselves. So we're showing this because it is on YouTube. Next slide. Thank you. And the YouTube channel has just been posted in the chat. Do you have anybody that's looking to buy their first home? Osiana Bijeneke Yemisela Desoa joined us for this powerful presentation on strategies to purchase your first home. Again, it is on YouTube. Next, please. Let's talk about tax. It is tax time. Personal needs to be filed before the end of April, and businesses depending on your tax year. You want to listen to these amazing ladies. It is what they do. They breathe it day in, day out. So listen to it again. It is on the YouTube channel. Click on it and get to listen to all these amazing events that we've already had in 2023. Next. A lot of us, we say that we leave our home country because we want better life for our children. And so it's very, very important for us to understand the Canadian school system. We had Ms. Enofa Lokbe and Mr. Ramidi Ademidu come and shed light on this important journey. So please, it's on YouTube, take advantage of it. Next slide. And so on that note, I'm going to be introducing one of our volunteers. Her name is Dianye Meshilea. She's an HR specialist, been in the business for over 2 decades, a mentor, a coach, and seriously, a very, very good friend of mine. Ms. Dianye, over to you to talk to us about CMP, because we know that we do have some people that are joining us for the first time. Ms. Dianye, over to you.
Thank you, Lady Alba. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to connect and join us in our event today. So Lady Alba mentioned earlier that CMP started in 2018. The vision of CMP is to equip and support people of African heritage towards sustainable growth, development, and prosperity in Canada. So, and you'll be wondering, how are we able to support people? We support in a holistic way. So holistic well-being of individual marriages and families. And you will find that through the programs that we have, the language classes, the sessions that we have, like today's event, They're all targeted at helping to support a holistic well-being of everyone within the community. So to also enhance the leadership, career, business, and professional development of members. There's so much that we have been getting to know because we're a community that allows all of us as professionals to share knowledge and also learn from one another. The CMP is also focused to provide support to new immigrants and international students. So a lot of opportunities have been provided to students to either do their summer programs or internship. We've had people through the mentoring programs that we have also support in finding internship opportunities in different organizations for CMP students. So we also provide training and information on wealth management and financial empowerment to provide programs that enhance our children and youth to foster better integration and understand Canadian multiculturalism and interfaith. So CMP also creates the opportunity for people to network, to build professional relationships. Today I've gotten to meet a few other people, and that's how we continually build our community and learn from each other and expand our network. Where there's a lot of things that we kind of take for granted is the network that we form while we go to school, we're done with school, we start working somewhere. Opportunities like events like this provide is that it gives us opportunity to see things from different perspectives, hear the success stories of others, learn the challenges of other people, and use that as also a learning opportunity for ourselves. CMP continues to provide that environment for us to learn. So CMP also has mentoring of new Nigerian professional students and also just anyone within our community membership. So build and nurture a professional image. We have people from time to time who have come in to showcase their business platform within CMP. That's also what creates opportunity for them to, for other people to, connect with them, learn from them. Like for instance, today's event is going to give us opportunity to learn how to, connect within our community and, foster that entrepreneurial spirit that we all have inside of us. CMP also provides a platform and avenue for information in our community, showcase role models for youths and children. It's important that we see ourselves in the leaders. We see ourselves in people that stand out within the community. And if we don't hear their stories, if there's no platform where we see those people, we will assume that they don't exist. Our children or our words, our relatives, whoever that is within the community will assume that those people don't exist. So, and that's one beautiful thing about CMP, that it is providing that platform where we can see that we do have people who look like us, who are succeeding and setting the pace in different aspects of life. So CMP also provides social, professional, economic, and political empowerment in Canada. Support our local businesses as well. And you will find in a couple of slides that will come up soon where we see the different businesses that we have within our community. So at CMP, we believe that consistency is key, and that's why it's our mantra. So we have 3 months of language school, Yoruba, French, Mandarin, that all have started since March this year. We've had that year after year. We also do have coding classes that are ongoing. So it's never too late to learn coding. So it's not only for the youngsters, it's also available for, the adults. We also have the Black History Impact Celebration and essay writing competition. You will find in a couple of slides now when we will talk about the event that's coming up in April. That'll be at Milton, so please do attend it. Scholarships will be given to students that participate in the essay writing competition. We also have various events and programs. When you see the, where you can find the recordings from the YouTube links, do click on those links. There might be insights that you may have missed. Maybe you attended or you missed attending it. Do attend them as well. Remember, CMP website is cmpngo.ca. You can also send an email to info@cmpngo.ca. Thank you. Lady Aba, over to you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Deye Meshlaya. Really appreciate your support. So this is just to show the language we actually started today. So in case you see anyone that you're interested in, feel free. It is online. It is for 30 minutes for the next 3 months. Next slide, please. And so, like I said, we do have a lot of events, The next event coming up is on April the 8th, literally a week away from now. Is it a week or two away from now? I don't know if you're aware that the Procurement Canada actually has contracts that they give out year over year to the tune of $2 billion. And so we're getting a representative from Procurement Canada to come and talk to us about how you and I can be a part of that. You know, this is contracts that the federal government gives out to people. We want to learn. So make it a date on April the 8th, 2023. And the links you see here are for the language school, but Technical will post our event site on our website that you can actually go there and register. All our events are free. Most of our events, except one, are free. So feel free to join, and they're usually virtual so that you can join from the comfort of your home. Next slide. Yes, this is very, very, very important to us. I was just telling my brothers and sisters that joined early that CMP for the first time did not do Black History Month in February. We collaborated with a lot of other people. My brother Efwange can attest to that. We collaborated with a lot of people during February to actually do the Black History Month, but we remain exotically beautiful. They year in, year out. And so the onus is on us to show who we are, right? And so CMP is actually having this event, Black History Impact Celebration, in April. It is an in-person event, but yes, it's going to be streamed online in case you're not able to join in person. It is free. There's going to be lots of food and connection. We're going to be celebrating the youth that wrote the essay. Our keynote speaker is a part of our community. Is an African with Ghanaian background. Is a justice of Ontario Supreme Court, Justice Kofi Banks. Our guest speaker, Ms. Christine McIntosh, is an African from the Caribbean. Our other guest speaker, Mr. Efwange Kumba, who is also speaking today, is an African from Cameroon. So all of these people are going to be supporting us during the Black History Month. It promises to be a really, really exciting time. And I'm happy to say that it is actually sponsored by the government of Canada. Next slide, please. So there you go. So I just, we put the sponsor that everybody will see, because when they support us, they want us to show it to the entire world. And of course, we're proud to say that our government is actually supporting things that are important to us. Next slide. And of course, our MP, our Member of Parliament, also supports us by advertising with us. Our Member of Parliament in Milton is in the person of MP Adam Van Koeverden. Next slide. And of course, we want to also say thank you to all our supporters, whether in the past or present. Some of our supporters is Black BPTN, Black People in Technology. Royal Bank of Canada has supported us in multiple years. Canadian Race Relations Foundation also has supported us. We just want to say thank you. Next slide. Our partners, Procurement Canada, as you see, we partner with them on a quarterly basis. We make sure that we bring them in to come and talk to us. Windmill microlending is important for people that are new to the country. You know, when you come to Canada, you hear credit, credit, credit. And you're like, what are they talking about? Without credit, the bank can't really give you much. But let's say you want to do you want to do your certification or certain exams and you don't have the resources, or you have limited resources. Windmill is actually able to give you some funds to do the exam. They're a charitable organization and they support newcomers to be able to land and thrive. Early Childhood Development Initiative was one of the events that we had early on this year. They're there to support us, to make us understand our rights in the Canadian school system. Next slide. And so CMP's light cannot stay on without our small businesses. A lot of people talk about, I don't know where to get African businesses, or some people are so bad. Remember, bad is an English word. If our people are bad, it's because everybody has been bad one way or the other. And so this is a shout out to all those small businesses that say, you know, that support CMP to make sure our lights stay on. Please, let's go on. Play it. Thank you so very much, JJ, for putting this together. Really, really appreciate it. So the shout out, we do it every time we have an event, and they're also on our website if you want to get to know more about them. So back to why we're here today, community collaboration, elevating entrepreneurial mindset with our important guest speakers. So why do we do what we do? We do it because we know that small businesses are the bedrock of any community. I was in a community in Vaughan for 1 month, and in that 1 month, I went to 5 events. And during that 5 events, the same people continue to support those organizations. When we need money, if we don't have small businesses in our community, we cannot get the money. When we don't have small businesses in our community, the government will not even take us seriously. And so I want to start with this quote by Margaret Wheatley. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. We have to care about each other. And that is why we're having this conversation. That's why we bring all these amazing people to come and share their insights on this topic. And I just want to welcome everybody again for the new people joining. My name is Adejisola Atiba. I am your host today. And this is a Council of Nigerian Professionals event. Did you know that there's a book titled 13 Ways to Kill a Community? It is actually written by Doug Griffin. And I will start with his quote before I give you the link to the book. His quote is, "Those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those of us doing it." So I want to say thank you again to every one of you, because every one of you, you're already doing it. And so we're going to start the program, and I'll be highlighting our speakers one by one. You have 3 minutes to tell us about your thoughts around these topics before we go into the questions that are already planned. And so I am going to start with, Sheldon. I will read his impressive bio. All of them have impressive bio. So I'm just going to highlight you right now so that people can see you properly. Wow, don't you just love his boardroom? He's a big shot. So you need some money, just go to this gentleman.
No.
Sheldon D. Williams is a seasoned insurance professional with over 20 years experience in the insurance industry. He currently owns and operates a licensed office of Nakora Insurance Brokers. His hard work, charisma, and true passion for his business has helped Sheldon's reputation as a qualified entrepreneur insurance professional. Sheldon specializes in all facets of P&C insurance. He has the confidence and network to be a great problem solver. A passionate community member, Sheldon is the VP of the Canadian Caribbean Association of Alton, CCAH, and the chair and co-founder of Canadian Association of Black Insurance Professionals, CABIP. Please give Sheldon a warm virtual welcome. And please feel free to use the emotions, the reactions, to do I-5, to do whatever you want to do. So welcome, Sheldon. And I'm going to call the next person. Michael, I'm going to highlight you. I'm just going to highlight every one of them so that we can see all their faces. So Michael Okoli is a seasoned IT professional and director at NASCI. He provides a brand portfolio of proactive and reactive IT services, encompassing all components of IT organization, the people, process, and technology. He has over 20 years, again, 20 years, record of achievement and demonstrated success in planning and delivery tech projects in software development, digital transformation, cybersecurity, ERP, CRM, e-commerce, as well as business manufacturing process improvement. Is highly regarded for leading global business and strategies to achieve stellar growth for industry leaders. Is an out-of-the-box visionary thinker who champions innovative solutions to elevate organizational performance. He has completed a broad range of IT training and certification in MCSA, CCNA, CCMP, Certified Project Management and Scrum Master, Business Analyst Professional, and a host of customized tech certification. He holds diploma in mathematics, statistics, and IT, a bachelor's degree in computer science, and MBA degree. He loves reading, spending time with people, playing soccer, and basketball. Again, a warm virtual welcome to our geek in the house. He's a geek, as you can see. Can you imagine? How can you be math and whatever?
Thank you.
Okay, the next person on is Mr. Efwange Kumba. Just so you know, he's my brother from another mother. Efwange Kumba is an environmental engineer licensed to practice in Ontario. He is responsible for helping companies repair or prevent damage caused to the soil. Imagine that, groundwater and drinking water. He has managed environmental projects for the public and private sector across Canada. He has served as pre-purchase environmental due diligence expert in sectors such as automotive, aerospace, oil and gas, and mining industries. He has consulted for several institutions, including the City of Richmond Hill, City of Mississauga, City of Oshawa, and Town of Newmarket. He is the founder and moderator of Perspective Nation and a volunteer for CMP. Again, a warm virtual welcome to Efwange Kumba. You can see that we have amazing people in our community. Now I'm going to call my sister. This one is not from another mother, it's from the same mother. Edosa Adams-Edode is a Canadian lawyer with a wealth of legal experience, more than a decade in family, child protection, immigration, and refugee law. She's also the principal partner of Adams-Edode Law Professional Corporation. As an African Canadian, Ms. Adams-Edode brings her skills and experience to ACCH platform to create a conduit of promoting access to justice, diversity, and equity. She will also promote ACCH advocacy to support social inclusion, community engagement, and proliferation of dialogue to effect grassroots change. She likes big grammar. See, I can't even pronounce some of the words. In her spare time, Ms. Adams-Edode enjoys reading, traveling, volunteering for causes that endorse women empowerment. Please give a welcome, a warm virtual welcome to Ms. Edosa Adams-Edode. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now we have my Francophone brother. I don't know. Unfortunately, I will not be able to introduce you in French. So you're just gonna have to take my English.
That's
away.
okay, but you can try, right, sis? No, just kidding, yeah.
So a little bit about Didier. Didier is an international business administrator, is into supply chain logistics operations, is a professional in management in a variety of industries, including automotive, food processing, and international trades. Is bilingual in French and English, advanced spoken Japanese, OMG. Effective analytical and methodological problem solving skills in fast-paced environment, excellent in negotiation and strategic planning and marketing, highly efficient in cost relocations and operations improvement, proficient with MS Office, Word, Excel. Seriously, this man, I know him to be a community leader. He was just talking to us about a project he was doing in collaboration with Canada and Africa in trying to bring people into the community. As you can see, there is no profession that you're looking for, whether it is geek, whether it is social, whether it is legal engineering, that you cannot find in our community. Let's embrace our community, because when we start to speak as one, that is when we begin to win. So on that note, I am going to be calling you, as I highlighted you one by one, to tell us a little bit about what you think about. And of course, if there's anything that I missed in terms of your bio, please feel free to share and share, some things about the topic today. So Sheldon Williams, over to you, sir.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Adesola, Lady Abba, for the opportunity here tonight. Entrepreneurialism. So I guess the one thing that I left out of my bio is my two children. I have a 8-year-old named Kaya, 11-year-old named Jeremiah. And when I was thinking about the topic about elevating the entrepreneurial mindset, I was thinking about where it starts, right? We can all sit there and say that we had the opportunity when we're in our teenagers or in our 20s or 30s to start a business. But I think it really starts from the confidence of the child, right? Giving that confidence as a child to be in that position to make a decision and know that failure is not a problem, it's part of the process, right? I think the majority of successful entrepreneurs, how they differ from other individuals in our community is not having that fear of failure and being able to turn that failure into learning. So how do we do that? Well, we give examples, and having individuals like who we have on the screen today give those representation examples of seeing ourselves be in positions. And once we have those examples, then we have those opportunities to have those conversations. And those conversations allow for those situations to say, hey, Michael, how many times did you say, I'm going to give up, and the next morning you just got up and did it again? And those are the opportunities that we have for the next generation to bring people in. So as an insurance expert, what I've noticed a lot is I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of small business people, whether it be, in-home daycare all the way up to multi-international companies. And what I think why this session is so important out of the soul is because I think we have a small window as to, you know, the jobs or careers or industries that we focus on for our entrepreneurial spirit. I think we have to do a larger or a better job at looking outside of our typical avenues. Like, for instance, manufacturing is something that we don't do enough in the Black community. Logistics, Deidre, good for you, because we don't have enough of that in our community as well right now. And once we go down the path of entrepreneurialism, I think we as leaders have the opportunity to say, okay, perfect. We have a lot of our people doing this and a lot of our people doing that. But those government grants that are coming our way and these opportunities that are coming our way from different environments, they're putting money into jobs and careers and businesses that maybe we're not really focusing on today. So what I would say in terms of, you know, something that we can do differently for our community right now is make sure that you plant that seed for your child as a youth of nourishing their passion, for giving them that backbone to have that strength to fall down and pick themselves up again, and then get outside of their comfort zone and say, hey, okay, well, my dad's an accountant or my uncle does IT like Michael does. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try to see if I can get complex manufacturing of plastics goods that I can then sell to the automotive industry and break that seal and then bring a next generation of people into that avenue as well. So in terms of elevating the entrepreneurial mindset, plant that seed early and then look for different crops to grow from that same baseline. That's my 3 minutes at it, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. People are already asking, can we get a copy of the recording? So they're already loving it. And I know that we've just started, Miss Gildas, or I'm sorry if it's a Miss or Mr. We just started. You are in for a treat today. So thank you so much. Absolutely. Some of the things I got is not a fear of failure. It's okay to fall. It's okay to get up. It's not how many times you fall that matters. It's how many times you're able to get up. And getting outside of your comfort zone. Yes, the fact that your dad is an accountant does not mean you need to be an accountant. Maybe you need to be a geek, right?
Exactly.
And there's so many untapped businesses that we can go into. So being open-minded. Thank you so very much. Really, really appreciate your insight. So
Thank you.
Michael Okole, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to throw the line of good evening once again, everyone. Michael here. I will throw the line of Sheldon. I'm also a father of 3, Gabriela 12, Jeremiah 9, and Isabella 5. So I missed that out on my barrel. So quickly before I run out of my 3 minutes, it's never going to be enough anyways. What is an entrepreneur? What do we basically do? We're simply risk takers. You know, that's simply what we do. We chose to, you know, boycott the 9 to 5 and decide to do something different in order for us to create opportunities for businesses, for individuals within and outside our community. That's simply what we do. We look at the opportunities that are available within our communities and outside. What do we need to do to take advantage of these opportunities? Create a job, right? Put aside the regular 9 to 5, look within and outside. What are those different opportunities across the different sectors, the different industries, insurance, public sector? What kind of solution can you bring to their problem? That's what we do as an entrepreneur. And going by the records, we have less than 20% of less than 20% entrepreneurs in the US. It means we have 80% plus as the regular 9 to 5, which inadvertently means who is going to provide the job. You must have seen the news recently. AWS is downsizing, robotics is taking over operations, Google is downsizing, so who's going to create a job? So pretty much, I'm just going to touch on 3 things, which would be the benefits. What's first is the mindset. The mindset first is to commit to your passion. You know, what are those things you like to do? And how can those things be of value to the people that you're going to provide those services to? You know, commitment. It has to be something that you're passionate about. If you're in law, what kind of legal service do you want to provide that you're very passionate about? Because sometimes too, as an entrepreneur, it's not all about, you know, having a return on that investment immediately. You would need some time. You would put on some investment. So, but the passion, the drive to do what you're doing or what you love to do is what keeps you going. At some point, like Sheldon earlier mentioned, you would almost feel like quitting, you know, but the passion is what keeps you going. You wake up in the morning and say, no, I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to continue. Two, the needs of the market. I mentioned that earlier. What are those needs? I use myself as an example. I looked at our community. There are no too many technical solutions provider in our community today. I would say that for free, you know. And I said to myself, I have these skills. I could speak to friends and families, those who are also interested in building this brand. And that was how the company NetTax Services started. And it happened so interestingly that during the COVID, when businesses were shutting down, we had lots of demand for the kind of services we provide. So the third one is that there has to be a plan in place. There has to be a vision. There has to be a strategy. How do you move from point A to point B? That has to be clear, you know, in building that mindset as an entrepreneur. And of course, networking. I've been in this country for less than 4 years now, but I've been able to meet a lot of people, you know. All of the speakers here, I met them through one program or another. So you got to go out there to the community, you got to speak to people, and especially as Blacks, there's a lot of opportunities available to us. I can go to Frank Sheldon, Lady Abba, and say, hey, I need a job. I need a project to keep my business going. You know, they would approve of me more than they would approve that you have a non-Black approve of your service. So you got to network, you got to meet with people, speak to people about what you do. And of course, there are usually going to be setbacks. There will be times when some clients whom you've provided services for would say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this service, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you learn from those feedback and, you know, come up with a development strategy to ensure that the next project is better than the previous. So basically in setting up or building that mindset, these are the things that I came up with that you need to put into consideration when trying to build up an entrepreneurship mindset. So quickly, I'm going to touch on the benefits. There's a lot of benefits. I know I run out of time. I'm just going to use 1 more minute. Permit me, please. There's a lot of benefits. A lot of benefit. You have control over your time, the flexibility of deciding your schedule. You're not locked down by one activity or another. You can choose what activity you want to participate in. And of course, the job creation opportunities. We work with schools like University of Waterloo, Toronto Metropolitan University. You know, they refer their students to us to train them, give them internship opportunities. That way you're building communities. That way you're expanding and helping our community to grow. And then finally, just to quickly touch on, you know, encouraging our community, you know, to imbibe this culture, this mindset of an entrepreneur is to get organized. That's my last point. You got to be organized. You don't want people to look at you and say, oh, he just floated this brand or this company for. No, you got to be organized. You got to be professional in whatever you're delivering, service, product. You got to be very professional. And there are a lot of lessons, a lot of materials, a lot of programs that you can participate in, you know, to build a professional lifestyle. So I'm going to end on that note. I'm sorry for taking extra time out of my 3 minutes. And if you do need some more information, reach out to the Abba and then we can connect to discuss more. Thank you so very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael. You can hear the passion in their voices. I don't need to repeat everything they said. I typed some of the things in the chat. Really, really interesting. Again, this has been recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. It's a good time for you to actually reach out to your friends and families. This is a conversation that they do not want to miss. So on that note, I'm going to be calling my brother from another mother, Efwange Kumba. Your 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, CNP. I know you people put really, really top events. Now, what are my thoughts when I look at this topic? My first thing is community collaboration. And what do we define as community? And in my own opinion or in my own experience, when we're talking of communities, usually people of African descent or Black people, irrespective of where you find yourself in the world. And I say that because I've traveled a lot, and every time you go to some foreign country, especially where you need to show your passport before you go across, and you look at that line of immigration officers, and there is somebody who looks like you, there is something behind your mind telling you, maybe I should go towards that line. And that's how we build our community, is who we are. Now, the next thing I would have loved, and since I've defined community, and instead of saying elevating entrepreneurial mindset, I would have said elevating hustlers mindset, because we as people of color, that's the term. Entrepreneurial is more of a borrowed term. You know, we are all hustlers, a legal hustler, an IT hustler, an insurance hustler, community hustler. We hustle, you know, and it's a term that I believe it goes across everybody. I don't care where you are. If you find yourself in Jamaica and they say, what are you doing? And you say you are a hustler, people understand what you are, and that separates you from other people. And because I am going with that side of a mindset, I would push it and say, when we are talking of mindset, there are generally just two types. You know, there's a fixed mindset and then there is a growth mindset. And a growth mindset means you want change. Irrespective of where you find yourself, you want change, you want growth, you want that elevation. And the thing is, how do we distinguish people who come from the same background, the same education, but one person keeps growing and the other person doesn't? And those are, I believe, those are the factors we'll be trying to discuss here, and how we can push that envelope, or how we can push those narratives. And I'll go further even to say, like, if you listen to the way I'm coming, I'm not taking a moral ground here to say you have a good mindset or a bad mindset, because we Black people, we people of African descent, when we go towards the moral standards, we start talking about, oh, it's a scammer, a hustler, it's a pastor, a hustler, and then we miss the whole discussion. What I'm saying is everybody that wants to move from one stage to another, irrespective of what you are doing, you are a hustler, you are an entrepreneur. Anybody who has a vision and wants to put in the effort and wants to learn and wants to change their circumstances, irrespective of what you do, you are an entrepreneur. The problem now is your mindset. How do different people do it differently? Is it your environment? Is it your genes? Is it the knowledge that you have? Is it conferences like this that we attend? And so those are some of the things that I believe we are going to look into. Now, the fixed mindset is usually somebody that is happy, or there's a situation where he is and they don't really bother about more. Am I taking over my 3 minutes? I guess so. They don't want to move. So I don't think we are going to be encouraging that in this platform. I also look at the hustler, especially for some people who work 9 to 5, is that person who decides to leave nursing and get into law or into IT. I also look at that person who gets in a school and he's a cleaner, and look at the principal putting on a nice suit and says, you know what, I'm going to get there. I see that person as a hustler. It might not be the definition or the dictionary definition of an entrepreneur, but I think that's the mindset that we should have. I hope we are going to have more of this. I know I'm running out of my time. I think we should look into these factors, these characteristics, these skills that give people their added advantage on the edge. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone, please, let's encourage our speakers and use the reactions to actually appreciate them for a job well done. I'm learning so much. I know a lot of us have heard about fixed and growth mindset, but you know what? It's always good to reinforce those kind of things. We don't want to become placid. Thank you, Vera, for putting that in. We want to continue to grow, and that's the only way we can build our community. Over to you. Akoniwaju Adajo, the lawyer, Edosa Adams Idode.
Thank you, Lady Abba.
Akoniwaju Adajo means the person that stands firm in front of the judge. I just had to speak language.
Thank you so kindly for those nice words. I wanted to add something to the excellent bio you read about me. And that is to say that I sit as the chair of the Heritage and Social Connection Committee of Nigerians in Milton, which is a huge community that collaborates extensively with not just our Miltoners, but with our neighbors across Halton region. And I thank CMP and all of these wonderful guest speakers for lending their ears, the expertise to this very important discuss today. So for me, looking at the topic and looking at the fact that elevating entrepreneurship mindset, I'm looking at it from a legal perspective because those are the lenses that I think I want to bring to this discussion because we have people in other fields. So we talk about community collaboration, and I think every community cannot be successful if we do not collaborate, because collaboration is simply having that innovative information that shapes who we are, connect our shared values, and create an enabling space for us to work collectively so that we can be stronger. Every community wants to have measurable goals that they can be successful. So when we look at that collective acronym, and we look at how can we elevate entrepreneurship mindset with community collaboration, that's the lens I'm looking at it from. And from a legal perspective, I look at it as twofolds. Most lawyers are either practice law, or some lawyers are lawyers that practice business of law. And when you look at the lawyers that practice business of law, it's from an entrepreneurship mindset that they do practice that law. Not to say that those who practice law are not entrepreneurs like myself, but there is an elevation of the mindset for strengthening your human capacity and for creating employment and competition. So you look at it from the mindset of lawyers who have firms that are equimogerate. You have lawyers like 100 law firm, or a one-man sole proprietorship. And you want to ask yourself, what is the difference, and how, can we elevate ourselves as a community from a one-man law firm to a 100 or 200 lawyers working within the firm? It takes time, it takes practice, and of course, it takes failure in the process. And I really like what Sheldon said, because failure is a process of a mindset of an entrepreneur. You cannot be an entrepreneur and not fail. You have to go through that process. And it also takes time and drive and expertise to get to that mindset where you know that, you know what, I need to network. Mr. Michael Okoli said that. I need to have mentors around me. I need to volunteer. And I need to have this critical thinking when I'm thinking outside the box, right? So all of these attributes, all of this would obviously elevate your mindset. It doesn't happen in one day. And we're different fields of endeavor, like in the law field that I would stress again, the entrepreneur is somebody who wants to do business for the good of the community. And when you do business for the good of the community, you're not limiting yourself to people that look like you, right? Because you're looking for innovative solutions to problems that our community face. And if you look at those innovative solutions, for example, COVID, post-COVID, as a lawyer, we have now moved from in-person to virtual practice. That's an elevation of the mindset. You have to practice that way. You have to reach beyond the borders of your jurisdiction. Now you can practice beyond the borders of Ontario, because that is part of the mindset of a business lawyer as well. Now, looking at the merits of this topic, which I think is critically important for us to keep discussing here today, is to also to, when you have an entrepreneur mindset, you're not thinking about the prescriptive theory. It's not something that you learn from the books. It's not something that you look at, okay, is there a book? There are so many books that talk about it, I understand, but it's beyond the prescription of a theory. It allows you to learn and also to look at, well, how can I strengthen my human capacity so that I can create employment that is more competitive? That's really what we're trying to do here. And it takes not just the social skills that Michael mentioned, it takes time to build, it takes time to learn, and it takes time to be more creative and innovative. So For me, this is a topic that it's beyond the borders of just 2 hours. It's a topic that will be engaging more and more. But I would say that looking at the topic, I think it's critically important that as community leaders or as community partakers and shareholders, we need to reach beyond our borders to create that connection where we can collaborate, just like what CMP is doing today. CMP is drawing within this platform organizations from diverse places. That is an elevation of a mindset. You know, it's not something that it's focused to just a particular group of people, but it is an elevating a collaboration of different organizations coming together to give their expertise on how we can branch out as a community and how we can do better than what we are doing right now. So I want to appreciate CMP for that. I want to focus more on the legal aspects because I think that will bring more credence to the area that I want to talk about. But once again, thank you, CMP, for this and my other panelists. I look forward to more discussions and questions from our audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, wow, wow. I hope you guys are taking notes. I try to type as fast as possible, but these people are just too intelligent for me. Edosa talked about collaboration. Yes, it's what we do. And I know that it's what most organizations in our communities are doing, because we know that we can't stay in our silo and do the same thing the same way and expect different results. One of our flagship events in CMP that we actually leverage to go not just within the African space, but outside of our community is the power of inclusion. This is where we actually bring people together into our space to get to know us, to learn about us. We learn about them, and we collectively talk and discuss, have this uncomfortable conversation to solve issues of lack of inclusion or exclusion, as some people may call it. So we continue to work together, and that's really the way we can resolve most of the issues that we face, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it is even having that critical mass in various industries across Canada. So thank you again, Mr. Adams-Dode. Over to you, my brother, Dede Kofi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lady Adiba, and it's a pleasure for me to be with those brilliant people that we have today here in the panel. And thanks to CNP for this opportunity to, contribute to what we can do for the whole community, and especially to the first question. But before going there, back to the bio, that was great when you talk about myself. But as the other member also mentioned, I'm the dad of 3 kids. Olivia, Nyai, she's 19. Kentaro, who's 16, and Barakel, who's now turning 13. And maybe how to summarize what I'm really doing. It's really a social entrepreneur that I easily want to say, as what DJ is doing, to see how we can support the community. And that's where, to go back to the question on the title, why we're here today. I think I was really impressed when I saw it, to be honest with you, because it's covered a lot of what we need to do to be a strong community. And talking about community collaboration, because again, you're mentioning that I'm part of a community that we call Akwaba community, and today I'm part of something that CNP is organizing. So that's where we see collaboration. And collaboration, it's I remember one of those old adage that was saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we need to have that as a mindset first. Community collaboration, be together. And we all know that entrepreneur, it's the one that are really considered as the backbone of that community. No community, you can take any type of community that we see, strong they will be strong into the entrepreneur part of the mindset. And I don't want to name anyone here. We know all of them, the Chinese, like the Asian community that I'm also in time, like no more done. And there's some few numbers that we need to consider as a community, because I was checking some numbers before coming to this panel. And from 2001 to 2021, the percentage of, let's say, minority here in Canada, from 13% went to 26%. And in there, today, we around, let's say, 4% of Black. But only 2.1% of the Black are entrepreneurs here in Canada. And we can see it's growing compared to before, because when I was also checking, it was below 2% before, but came to 2.1. Compared to the other, let's say, minority here in Canada, is still low. So the question, and that's why I found the importance of this conversation here today, it's how can we as a community grow this kind of mindset of entrepreneur? How can we take more risk by, like endorsing those kind of mindset, be creative and be more working together to build that community? So those are the questions that I believe we might maybe go through the, like the whole panel, but it's very important to be here today, and I'm looking forward to give as much I can based on my experience and sharing with the team here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please give them a warm virtual appreciation, applause. Please use your reactions. Let's use the reactions, everybody. Let's use it to appreciate our panelists today. Thank you so much for all the amazing insights that you've all provided. So many nuggets has been shared, but a question was sent to me, and I just want to, this is not part of the questions that we already have, but I feel that this is super important. Somebody said a lot of businesses collapsed during COVID-19. And most of these businesses were actually in our community. Maybe, I don't know if they saw any statistics, or maybe it was something that, okay, so I already see Sheldon raising his hand to speak. Fantastic. So why do we feel businesses are collapsing? We need to, we're talking about having more businesses in our community, but our businesses continue to collapse. So Sheldon, I'm gonna pass it to you to start us off on this conversation.
Yeah, I had to put my hand there because it kind of ties into what I said in the beginning in terms of diversifying our look at what businesses are in the Black community. So again, I've been in the insurance space for 20 plus years. However, in the past 3 years, I opened my own brokerage, and in that time period have done a lot of work with Black-owned businesses. In terms of the reasons that I've seen and I've experienced of why businesses have closed down is because of the types of businesses that we've been focusing on as a Black community so far. There hasn't been sustainable businesses that have been built or have been part of our choices to engage in. For instance, I don't know how many barbershops or hair salons or takeout places that I insure. There's I don't know how many jerk spots or how many, shea butter businesses that I have. There's a number of them, but those are not, they don't have the sustainability for any type of catastrophe. They don't have the type of resources that are built in to allow 6 months, 8 months, 1 year of no income. They don't have the type of unique value proposition that provides them the security to withstand any type of impact to their financials. And, so that's something that I think has opened my eyes when I speak with people that come to me and say, hey, I want to open a business. My landlord says I need insurance. Can I get a certificate of insurance? Okay, no problem. Let's talk about your business plan. Let's talk about what your revenues are going to be like. Have you looked about what your expenses are going to be like? Have you looked about the entire picture of what your business, what you need to bring, just a simple, look at how much money you need to bring in monthly for you to pay your bills. Have you looked at that as yet? And how much money do you have to bring in for you to be 6 months out if COVID-19 hits again, or if whatever other pandemic may come our way? And I think for me, when I'm having these conversations with people that are looking to get into businesses and entrepreneurs that are looking to use their natural skills, their lack of fear of failure to go into the industry and do something of their own, to say, try something different. Try something that's not typically associated to the Black community. Try a business that's more sustainable, and maybe you'll be able to weather the storm when it comes, and if it comes again. So that's why I put my hand up, Lady Ava, there, is because I've been unfortunately on the front lines of having people call me and say, Sheldon, I don't know when I'm going to be able to open my doors again, and COVID is really killing my business, and this is painful to watch, but also give me confidence that this is the TSN turning point in terms of making a change as to how we look at businesses in our community and look at other ways for the next generation.
Wow, thank you so very much. That was very, very apt. I totally agree with you because all the small businesses, to your point, that did not really have a unique value proposition were dropping off like flies within the last 2 years. I don't know if there's anybody else I would like to add to that.
Okay, so I'm just going to take an example just to corroborate Sheldon's comment. So cash flow is a major concern, and I was just having this discussion with a friend yesterday. How we're just discussing how do we become bigger than what we are currently. We want bigger clients. We want the government. We want those with huge budgets to come use our service. How do we go about that? And one of the submission was, why don't you hire more people? Go get loans, hire people. And I said to my friend, I said, okay, look at it this way. If we're running a less than 500K business, right? We're targeting, let's say, to start with a 2 million watt project. Now, if we're not making up to 2 million, I'm going to need 2 million to go to get those big projects, right? That would give opportunity to employ, that would give opportunity to create job opportunities. But what if I get this loan from the bank and we put in the business, get a bigger office space, build some or revamp our business model, employ people to drive this model. And what if this deal doesn't come true? What happens? So it's one thing that, taking an example also from a friend of mine who was running a business of skincare and had rented a location, skincare location, office location, and was paying $4,000. And other expenses that comes around, everything comes to about 15,000 every month. And she wasn't making up to 15,000. Few months down the lane, the landlord came knocking. I need my space because you're not able to meet the rent. So cash flow is a major concern. And for some of us here who use services and you don't like to pay, you kill the business as well. Pay for services, it's easy to look at your brother and say, yes, he's my brother. I'm gonna use his service, and I'm sure I'm gonna get the same value as I would get when I go to Google or Amazon, because practically provide the same service, right? And he would quote you and say, this is how much you're gonna pay. Maybe I'd even considered family package and put in the discount there for you, and you find it difficult to pay. So if you're on the call, I'm saying, pay for service, except the service is not meeting your expectations, then you can have a discussion around that. Those are key things that kill the business. When money is not coming to take care of your business, and especially for profit-oriented business owners, your reliance on grants are very limited because you're strictly profit-oriented. So you make money, you pay the government their portion, you keep your portion, and business keep going. So that's another one. Then two, there's a lack of plan in a lot of our businesses. The planning is not there. So I get sometimes some prospects clients to say, hey, and I say, okay, can I see your business plan? Let us at least see where you started from and where you're going to, because we're not going to spend our whole time working with you. At the end of the day, you come in between and say, hey, I don't know there has to be a business plan. Then of course, leadership. Leadership is a very strong factor. I know it's kind of very challenging. Starting up a new business, for example, getting people to work with you who share the same mindset, who sees the goal, who wants to tap in and also support the brand. But when these things are lacking, there's a chance that you run the business a few months down the lane and you want to quit. So that's my submission, just to add to Sheldon's contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I call you a Fange, you are so correct. If you fail to plan, you will definitely plan to fail. And to your point, we need to learn in our community to pay for services. Don't say because it's my brother, I can take it. they've put in the work, they've put in the so much into it. When you take that business, you got to pay for it. I know one of my senior aunties that opened a law shop. She told me that our community almost drove her to bankruptcy because they will say, oh, I'll pay, but they never pay. And that does, we know that when we go to other communities, we don't do that to them. So why do we do it to ourselves? If we don't appreciate ourselves, who is going to appreciate us? And again, you were talking about, anyway, before I go into that question, maybe I should get Efwan get to say what he has to say. Go ahead, Efwan.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges we had during COVID, especially businesses within our community, was bookkeeping. And I'm just emphasizing what Sheldon is saying. So there are some people who have been running businesses, and then during COVID, they decided to cut corners. And then suddenly the government is giving money and you don't qualify. And the person is calling me and saying, oh, this is the challenge I have. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, what's on your books? How much did you declare for taxes last year? And they are telling me X, Y, and Z. And I can't call an expert like Sheldon and say, hey, Sheldon, I have my brother here. He was paying all his workers under the table and he needs an insurance. And the next thing he's going to be telling me like, oh, okay, so what's the size of the business? And we're telling him, oh, the size of the business is 50,000 when you've actually spent maybe $500,000. And so we also need to be cautious about that. I think during COVID, we had a lot of problems. I just wanted to mention that point.
Thank you very much again. I'm in the banking business, and I know that a lot of people could not avail of the various grants that the government were given because because of lack of bookkeeping, because they were cutting corners. When you cut corners, at the end of the day, we end up hurting ourselves. There's this. We know that the higher the risk, the higher the potential gain or loss. I heard you, Michael, when you said, you expand and, whatever. We have some businesses in our communities that they do it from their home. And we know that you can't expand beyond the size that you are. So what is the kind of advice you will give to those kind of businesses? Because, we were talking about having a business you want to employ, but if you stay in a small space, you can't employ nobody and you cannot, get out of there. So what are some of the advice that you can give? I know it also you raise your hand, you probably have something you want to say. You can go ahead and say what you want to say, but start by answering that question before I pass it on to Didier to add to it.
Excuse me, thank you, Lady Abba. I wanted to add to the question post-COVID, and adding to this discussion, I just wanted to bring attention to, once again, from the legal perspective, the legal market is never saturated as long as there's human beings existing. I say that because there's what we call unbundled service. And I don't know if it applies to the small market, other like buying and selling. Unbundled service is another innovative way of doing business. So for instance, you could have a business that you would provide legal services in terms of what you need. And because of COVID, you recognize that, I can no longer do this. So let me provide unbundled service. And this can be applicable to any kind of business. And what unbundled service really means is you need a lawyer to draft the document for you, or you need a lawyer to appear in court for you. So you have to be innovative to recognize that we can no longer do business the traditional way, having 5,000-foot office space. That, to me, is the traditional way of doing business. You have to be more creative. You have to elevate your mind to say, how can I, do my business in a way that I am providing nuggets of service that the community needs, or that is breaking through barriers for me. So it's called unbundled service. And I think business owners should really start to look at how can I, for instance, Sheldon's business, how can he start providing unbundled service that will be targeted to the needs of people post-COVID? Because that's where you drive innovation. That's where you drive the entrepreneurship mindset. And so let's shift away from that traditional way of doing business and look at more innovative spaces that is available to us. Because let's face it, we live in a virtual world. It's not going to change. That's what I wanted to add to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you're so right. I remember when CMP started in 2018, we only had 3 events because it had to be in person. But COVID taught us a lesson. Last year alone, we had 85 events. And that was because we can do a lot of things virtually, right? So it's not about having to dress up, bath and makeup and get out of your house and drive and, stress yourself. So yes, a lot of businesses are going lean, right, Michael? I'm using your techie technology instead of going all out, go lean, to test the market before they do what they do. And a lot of businesses now have virtual offices as opposed to having, big spaces. So yes, we gotta be strategic and know how to do things differently to be able to sustain our businesses. So DJ,
Yeah.
you had to,
Yeah.
yes.
It's almost the same as Cisse Dosa was also mentioning. We need to understand that COVID came as something to shake the entrepreneur, environment. And before, we didn't even after, as community leaders, we need to really be deep and take things, more seriously. Because for me, those 2 or 3 years of COVID were a period. And after this period, things might maybe come back or be maybe sometime more serious than that if we don't pay attention, if we don't change our mindset. If you see the Black community, as I was mentioning, we are still in an environment where we need to change a lot, to be agile. Because as we can see through the numbers, the data, we're not yet there. You can see compared to the other community, the percentage, what they do is really high, but still here, we're still at that low, and the mindset of the leaders, so we need to take it very seriously and see how we can refine our interpersonal skills, be more confident in business, be more agile, be more aggressive, be more, trying to find some ways to be practically more resilient and stuff like that. So we saw during those kind of years of COVID that, we didn't have those. That's where the majority of, of us and others, have, been in trouble. Some of, as you mentioned, CNP, even Aquaba as well during those periods, because we have went through some kind of change management and, be able to be adjusting ourselves. Finally, we made things happen. So we need to take it, and it should be from, as Sheldon said, to see how we can take it from the young generation, to see how we can build that, a new mindset of entrepreneur within the, the way of doing things, and be more strong, be more agile, because this type of situation, we all know that things might maybe come again in the future. So let's be ready. Let's build that strong community through everything that we do. And that's why I really like today's, panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One sentence you keep saying is, we're not yet there. We're not yet there. So that will be my next question. And Sheldon, you're up. How can we be there? What can we do to be there? What are some steps, little things that we can do collectively, individually to be there?
Well, I think this is a good way to start. Having conversations about elevating the entrepreneurial mindset is a great start. Having business-minded people in the room that can give living experiences to successes and I wouldn't say failures, because we all have had our failures, but ways of better paths to go, the path better taken, not the path most often taken. That's really where I think we can get that first step in. I think Michael, DJ, and I said the next generation, right? So our children, starting from there and saying, my kids, they're at the age where they say, oh, daddy has his own business. Look at him doing his own. Okay, cool. You think that's cool? All right. So how about we look at doing that for you? One thing as well is what we should start doing from where we are is something different. And this is what makes us unique is that a lot of us are first generation and second generation. So we don't have that opportunity to have that generational pass down. Right? It's not as if I got this business for my family, or this is third generation accountants, or I'm in the insurance brokers and they have this term SOB, which is son of a broker. So nothing being offensive here, where a lot of people have that generational business, going from one to the other. As newly immigrated people or first generation are just not having that tenure, that conversation is a little bit different. So back to where I said before, what businesses can we start? What businesses can we operate? What businesses can we pass down to the next generation? A lot of people don't want to sit in that hair salon that their mom sat in all those years. A lot of people don't want to do the same careers that their parents did all these years. But if it's an industry, if it's something bigger and broader than just that one person has to be there 24/7 cooking that jerk chicken or making those puffs every night, you know what I mean? It changes the entire conversation. So I think it's just, starting from the children on the way up and starting from the people that are currently here and saying, what can we build that can last not only catastrophic losses such as COVID, but can last generationally. So we can say, this is a business that Michael built or Ofurange built, 3 generations ago, and now is a multinational organization. I think that's where we can start now. We can change the narrative right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So supporting our children and actually building businesses that will last generations. And to your point, that's what, all the other tribes that we keep talking about, cultures that we keep talking about, that's what they've learned, that's what they've mastered. And so we need to get to that space. So whatever we're doing, we need to carry our children along. We need to carry our youths along. So I don't know, Michael, do you want to add to that conversation before I ask the next question?
So I think Sheldon already said it all. We have, we're in an environment where if we don't have plans for our generation to come, we're going to go back to ground zero, which means our children would, the jobs are not going to be there if we don't create them. That's one thing. We need to have that now. Robots are taking over a lot of operations in factories. Back in those days, you see a lot of factory work, you pick them up. We need to begin to think about how to create that opportunity, build a long-lasting plan that will lead to a long-lasting business, and create that opportunity for our children yet to come. But most importantly is this aspect I also wanted to touch about, and that's why, again, to thumbs up to the CNP team, this information is one key aspect of what we need the most, aside from building a castle or a wealth of businesses or creating opportunities. There are very few organizations, that put together this kind of program. And, this is one way to begin to expand this mindset, to begin to circulate this information so that, people out there can begin at some point begin to think I know it's pretty much kind of like very challenging to make that decision, especially when you're in one position, comfortable. But we need to now begin to spread that information, organize programs like this as often as we can, make it a community thing. And on top of it, so I use example a lot of times because of, these are real life examples. I had this group of guys, one in real estate, and we all have different offices scattered across different locations. And I said to them, hey guys, everything is now pretty much virtual. Do we need all this big space? What about we collapse one person's office and we just pay you the money and save us some money from the rent? So we can actually think in that line as well as a community, as a people, have our own community or office hub where someone like Adams Dode can come and say, okay, I need this, I want to collocate. The front guy can come and say, I want to collocate. And we all stay in the same location, share the same, collocate in the same building, save a lot of costs from rentals. That's obviously what is going to come, and channel those funds into something more operational. So, but to cap it up, I want to encourage that we continue this kind of session. I don't know how much it costs, but it must really take a lot to put together this kind of program, because this is where the solution starts from. It's from creating an avenue, creating an opportunity for people to get this information. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. All well noted. Co-locate. I love that term. Creating information. That's what we do at CNP. I just want to quickly drop something very, very, very important. And you guys are hearing it for the first time. So CNP is actually moving away from CNP. We will be moving away slowly but surely, because we know that, again, I've come to the realization that, seriously, if we're not Africans and working together, we're wasting our time. Africa was divvied up over a tea party. We did not have any say in that division. And so because of that, just sweet African, I'm proud to say I'm an African, but I was born as a Nigerian in the Nigerian country. But there's so many of my brothers and sisters that were cut to Benin, to Togo. So will I say because they're now Togolese, they're now from Benin Republic, they're no longer my brothers and sisters? No. And so, and also we realize that whatever the issue is with CMP or Nigerians is the issue with Africans anyway. So why are we not working together? So CMP will be moving on to Efwange Kumba. What are we moving on to?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting you brought it there, because I've been volunteering for CNP, and I've actually been on the front pages of CNP.
It looks like there's no trillium ones.
And a lot of people sometimes believe that I'm Nigerian, and sometimes I will say, oh yeah, I'm Yoruba, and then they come to find out I'm Cameroonian. So yeah, CMP is transitioning to Council of African Professionals, and they've made a lot of consultation, gone back and forth with the names, Council of African Heritage Professionals. The whole idea is to bring everybody together, the Caribbeans and everybody under the same roof. And I think it's a very brilliant idea. And just that change of name, even though it's not very, very official now, we have already started seeing partnership building. Politicians are now taking us serious. When you invite the mayor for a Council of Nigerian Professional event and a Council of African professional event, it's taken differently. So I think it's a good idea. And I want to thank the leadership of Council of Nigerian Professionals for doing this. We know ourselves as Black people, when we have power, we usually don't want to share it. So thank Council of Nigerian Professionals.
So thank you so very much. So that's just something I want to quickly drop in. So the next question goes to you, Efwange. Some research says that 3 C's of entrepreneurial mindsets are curiosity, creating value, and connection. So tell me, what has curiosity got to do with entrepreneurial mindset?
Okay, so curiosity basically means there is something out there and you are trying to figure out how this thing works or how to solve that problem. And if you look at all the top people in the world, all these great people, they are not, let me say great entrepreneurs, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, they actually looked at the problem and they were curious to find a solution. That's the bottom line about it. And we, as people of the same community, the same, either we've suffered slavery or suffered colonialism, we have similar problems, and we need to be curious on how we solve our problems. You know, we can't get people from other communities. You know, I usually give this example that if you put an amala cooked by a Chinese person and a Nigerian person, we know the one that we are going to eat. You know, I know it's funny, but that's true. That's the bottom line. You know, and sometimes it's very curious. You go out here and see the people selling these Nigerian movies. When I came here in the days of CDs, and you'll be surprised that Jamaicans were the ones actually promoting these Nigerian CDs more than even the Nigerians themselves. So that just shows that when we are curious and look towards ourselves as one, we have. We can easily find our solution. So basically, Jamaicans are marketing Nigerian product. Now, creating value. Creating value simply means, so let me bring it easy. You get something cheap and then change it or keep it the same and then sell it at a profit or something like that. That's basically creating how you create value, or you provide a service and then make it bigger. Sometimes you just need information. And that is the 3rd C, I believe, which is a connection, which is basically networking. Sometimes you just need information. And creating value doesn't mean you change the cost of your service or your product. It doesn't mean you make everything expensive. Sometimes it means you find a bigger market. Sometimes it means your cost of production is low, just like what Michael is saying here. Instead of having a 5,000 square foot building, we come together and say, you know what, everybody has a basement. All of you go to your basement. We put 3 computers. If you're coming to the office, we say, oh, Michael, you know what, you're an IT technician. How do I connect my laptop at home so that if I come to this office, I can access all these files? And Michael will say, fine, this is how we can do it. And you'll be paying me, what, $300 every month. And I'm like, really? I'm paying $1,500 a month for this small space that I have. So everybody saves. And then you pass over that savings to your customer, and then you build a bigger distance. I want to focus a bit on connection, networking. We are generally poor at networking because we identify ourselves as Blacks, Caribbeans, Nigerians, Cameroonians, Francophones. You speak Yoruba, I speak Igbo, you speak Arabic, we're colonized by French, or we had slavery. And when we focus on doing all these conversations, we don't end up knowing what the next person is doing. You know, I'll give you a story and I'll end it here. One of the greatest things I got from the last CNP event, the power of inclusion, I was consultant for a Honda dealership. And when I went there, I was also training a young Italian lady that we had hired. And you see, this guy was always giving me respect and saying, it's your brother that owns that building. And I had no idea what he was talking about. Come to know about it, he was talking about, he thought I was Nigerian. He was talking about a Nigerian who owns a building next to him. And he was like, oh, you must know him. And I met the owner of that building at the CNP, and I was telling him that, oh, I'm consultant. And he was like, why are you consulting for my neighbor? You should be doing that work for me, you know. But I didn't know. So we need to get to events like this, understand what each other do, and then we can support them. That connection is very, very important. If I go to Michael, it's easy for me to tell Michael that, my brother, I don't have that money now, but I'm going to pay you in 3 months or pay instrumentally, than going to people of other communities. Especially if Michael says no, I can call Lady Abba that I've met here. I can call Kofi that I've met in a platform like this. Or I can meet Michael again in another event and continue the discussion. So I think that that would be my explanation for this 3C: curiosity, creating value, and the connections.
Thank you so much. Didi has been raising his hands. I don't want him to, it's done to pain him. I was gonna call Edosa, but because I need him to put the hand down, I'm gonna just.
You know what? Ladies first, we can let Edosa.
No. You raise your hand, go for it. Don't worry.
No,
we got the power. We got the power. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you see, right? No, I just want to, go to this question, because I think from what we were talking about, the mindset of the entrepreneurship within the Black community should start from these 3 C's. And for me, it's very important. And we're talking about even see how we can start from the young generation. If you see, those 3 C's are the skills or the mindset that we need to build through our young generation. Everything when we are talking about, our son, like Dora and stuff, should be about curiosity, creating values, and connection. Everything they do should be based on that if we want them to be in that kind of entrepreneur mindset. Because it's almost similar than what I was reading somewhere through a lady called Sarah. And I learned she creates that concept that we called WIT, whatever it takes to. And the curiosity for her is research. How can we create that kind of research mindset in any type of mindset when you want to be, of course, an entrepreneur? Because again, it's not everybody that can be. I think we can talk about that after. But if you want to be, let's say, an entrepreneur, you need to have the mindset of research, like trying to find, make the time to learn about the organization. And I'm talking about the fact that from my perspective of being, like a social entrepreneur, to see how you can open your eyes to what other people are doing. And it's very important that first that goes to the curiosity that she was calling research. And after that, there's the creation of values that she called show them the money. If we don't create the win-win opportunity, and that should start from, like the young generation, they need to understand that when you want to create something, you need to understand that you need to show the money to others. You need to show, like the opportunity to others. And it's another great mindset that people need to have. When they don't see it, they can't really go with you. And the last one, the connection is play the long game. Like, it's not about coming and ask, but when you ask, people should understand that it's for a long journey. Like, it's very important for everybody to be together. And it goes back again to the community. So that's where I was like, let's go back again to the roots. Let's see how we can create that, put that in the mindset of our young generation, to have that part of the routine, the habits when they're talking to everyone, whatever they'll be doing, to have some very strong, let's say, entrepreneur mindset in the future of the Black community. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Didier. Thank you so much. Edosa, please head into the conversation before I call Divine.
Thank you so much. I think Didi has said practically and as well as Efange. And when I consider and meditate on those three words from an entrepreneurship standpoint, for me, it just tells me how can I systematically disrupt the conditions in place in order to create better access for growth and opportunity. Because we will look at community collaboration, it has to be systematic. And when we look at creating the mindset of an entrepreneur, technology is power. And then we now tie that into the community that we serve and that we belong to. We have to understand that manufacturing, we create that destabilizing environment, because we have to disrupt it. There's an environment that we need to disrupt. And if you don't have the manufacturing power, you cannot disrupt that environment, that you cannot disrupt it so that it becomes an environment whereby entrepreneurship can flourish. And then we want to tie that into, in order to disrupt the market and create innovative solutions with respect to manufacturing, you need access to funding. We're back to funding. We talked about, this is connecting to the 3 C's as well, but I just wanted to tie that to what my panelists have spoken here today, which raises critical questions in terms of our curiosity and what we can take back to our various communities and businesses. And that is the fact that we have businesses that are limited to certain levels of entrepreneurship, like low-end business, barbing salons, or food service business. How can we create businesses that will gain access to funding where we can open a manufacturing firm? Because with COVID, for instance, a lot of manufacturing firms sprung up, and they were doing business with the government of Canada. My question to you, and I don't have that data today, is how many of those businesses were Black owned? And if they were not Black owned, why? Was it that they were not able to get funding? Was it that they didn't have the entrepreneurship mindset? And this is how we start to break and disrupt the status quo. Because trust me, most entrepreneurs in our community are very curious. They're very creative. There's an issue with connection to the money. And that's really where we need to unbundle those services. Like I said before, you have to find ways to unbundle your services where you can, get a niche in the market. And I will finally say one more thing before I allow the conversation to continue. Engaging in technology is critical to the next level of our community, so that we can really leverage on not just traditional business where it goes from one generation to another generation, but we can leverage on the fact that when we create that technology, we're really creating more connections. Because if we don't create technology, it's going to be hard to create more connections. Zoom was in the market for a long time. And Zoom is a platform that so many people use now. And so that's speaking to the fact that we're in an age where technology is really the power. And I'm hoping that as we continue to embrace this topic and we continue to look at our own style of business and see how we can, expand it so that we do business not just with ourselves, but we do business with other people so that, our communities can grow stronger. Finally, I want to also leverage on the point that was made earlier on. I think it's Lady Abba that said it at the beginning of this whole discussion, where she said, she gave a quote that was really very, for me, very, very poignant. She said, when we speak as one, that's when we continue to win. And speaking as one is what we have not been very successful at. But I believe that with this dialogue and so many other dialogues going across the board, we will continue to win. When we continue to speak as one, we continue to win. Kudos to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Adosa. Thank you so much. Divine, please give me one quick second. I just want to quickly hone in on what some of the things that Adosa said. Community collaboration, we called it that for a reason. I know we talked about the food business. We talked about the barbers, but can our food business not turn into like a multi, a collaboration between between different businesses? One of the things I've realized is that we tend to do things in silos. Our food are so tasty. People want to eat them. Sheldon mentioned puff puff. Is it not possible for us to actually pack it in such a way that Food Basic will actually buy it? And even the grocery stores, people have grocery stores in their own little space. Can it not be like Food Basics? Can it not be like Loblaw, when people actually come together and pull their resources together? We all, our ladies, we know we go to hair supplies to buy whatever we use to beautify ourselves. Those businesses are not even owned in our community yet. We're the ones putting money into it. So I think it's all about, somebody mentioned growth mindset. Going from being it's all about me to about us. How can we get from there to there? But that's not a question for now, because time is almost against us. And I do want to take Mr. Divine and give you all 30 seconds to give your final say, because in CMP, we stick to the time because we know your time is super important. So, Mr. Divine and Naka, I'm so sorry. I thought it was a lady. I love you.
Yeah, I know. I just want to, first of all, appreciate and thank you, all of you, the panel, so much for this very valuable information. I also want to, first of all, thank Mr. Fwange for having shared this in our community. And I have been for so long resistant to actually see what was going on. But I think this is one of the most valuable times spent with the community. And I really, really want to appreciate what CNP is doing. And I think this topic is a very critical one. I personally have learned a lot today. And because for me, this is, I came here about 14 years ago, and this was something that I bothered a lot without Black businesses. And it was really an issue because every immigrant that was coming from Africa or within the Black communities struggled a lot in terms of employment or just getting some way to start. And for me, it was like a lost well. And I realized I'm happy that some people were creative, like what CNP is doing. I don't know the details, but hearing from what people in your panel have been discussing today is really uplifting. And I think most of the things have really been discussed, and not only discussed, but really very, very, very informative. And the question is for me, and what was going through my mind is, how can this be translated into action? And not only action, but real, because like the statistics, I think Didi was given, 2% of entrepreneurship totally tied us down to slavery. There's no doubt about that. And when I heard that, it boils my mind again. So the factors like the 3C you've shared, they're good. They are also in the theoretical phase of what we are all going through. I think if we need to truly make a shift, it's going to be beyond words. Like when I hear those are speaking about disruption, these are very big stuff. How do we disrupt the system to start creating that value that can truly affect real change? Because we have all the professionals, all these people that come into the country and referring to other communities like the Chinese, the Indians, and other people. We go work for them and they don't even want us sometimes. So the question is, there's one key thing which I personally believe we don't do is just another discussion or academic event, which I want to contribute in my own part and also allow the panel, if they want to react about that, maybe I'm wrong. But I think what will actually cause a disruption is for us to look for possibility or means to create consciousness, another C. In as long as our people remain unconscious or remain at the level of consciousness of which they are, I think it's going to be it's not going to happen. I go with what Sheldon was saying. It's very important that we create a next generation, the transformation of wealth. How do we do that? Because these things is data, it's mathematics. If you don't create those formula that you could transform those things, it's just another academic exercise, So I want to ask because you guys are thinking of transformation and just getting events and giving information to people is hard for them because they don't know. The reason they are not doing is because they know and they are not doing. What is really critical to break the boundary is how can CNP with their dream, this big dream to make us, some of us, like what I felt today, to practically engage that we could move one person or one community from another, that we should start creating that practical change that can automatically start affecting our community. Like people were talking about manufacturing. Surprising in the 21st century, even the Black community is not still involved in manufacturing. We talk about the food sector. Walmart is basically in food sector and all those things. Why is it that we think that our own goods and services is low end? As I heard somebody mention, not to take you, it's not low end. It's just that we don't know how to market it or create value, as Ifange was saying. How can we go really actively to move it? I don't want to take much time. Sorry for taking more than that because I'm really passionate with what you guys have done today. And I just hope that we could get connected because, again, for me, like we talk about COVID, there were not Black businesses before COVID. Black people were opportunists during COVID. You cannot be an entrepreneur overnight because they thought, they were giving incentives and stuff. You can learn when you get incentive to start a business. Entrepreneurship is a very difficult process. How can we move this needle forward in true faith that we can start impacting real lives in terms of practically impacting our people in terms of business? Thank you so much. And for my own self, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Divine Anaka. Thank you so very much. Very, very insightful. We could hear the passion in your voice. So we know that you took that time, not because you wanted to waste that time, but because you wanted to pass on your message. I want to tell you this. I was telling the panelists when we started that CNP is actually putting together a boot camp. And I'm telling you now, so all of you panelists, you're invited back into this boot camp. And the boot camp is about creating, understanding, protecting, Generational Wealth Bootcamp. So it is a 12-week program that we're going to break down a lot of things. We're going to break down different investment models. We're going to talk about risk. We're going to talk about estate planning. We're going to talk about, setting up businesses. We're going to talk about a lot of things. It's going to be week over week for 12 weeks. So we're going to work on that. So this is not going to stop here. And this panel will come. They will be the one to round this off. They may be part of the events in some weeks, but they will come to round it off. Because when we meet again next year, we have to talk about businesses that we have started in our community. We cannot continue to talk. I know Efwange wants to talk, wants to do, answer some of the questions. Efwange, I'm just giving you 1 minute, not
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, I'll try to limit it to 1 minute. I'm just going to say this. Divine, thank you for joining. And yeah, you were passionate, and I think you should join this type of discussions and not just be a guest. I think you should be on the forefront. And I'm saying this because everybody listening, we need to start telling our own stories. If we don't do that, we are not going anywhere. And when we have discussions like this, people should come forward and make their comments known. If you consume any of our products, please criticize it. I know we come from this community where people feel criticism is pulling somebody down. No, we're only going to improve if we criticize our own product. And the last thing I want to say is, some of you work 9 to 5, you do different things. Go to your jobs and figure out which positions are vacant and call us at CNP. Call this person here and call this person here. Like Edosa is not aware, but my job knows that if they have a legal person, I have a friend who is a lawyer. I would rather tell them to talk to this person before it doesn't go through. So we need to do marketing for each other. Thank you.
So I see a question. What product is the CNP producing? CNP is not producing any product. CNP is a non-profit. What we produce is information. We give information. We bring people together to change lives, to help immigrants to land and thrive. Please visit our website, www.cnpngo.ca. We don't produce, but we can collectively work together as individuals outside of the space of CNP to produce something. So on that note, I'm going to be giving every one of us, you're 5. I'm going to give you 1 minute. 1 minute. You can choose any of this topic to talk about. And Sheldon, you're going to go first. Michael, you go after Efwange, Adosa, and then Didier. So you can choose any of this topic to talk about. 1, create consciousness. 2, disruption. 3, change mindset. 4, curiosity. 5, creating value. 6, connection. So go for it, Sheldon. 1 minute.
All right, so 753 to 754. Connection is key. I think to Divine's answer, really and truly, the connection of having these conversations from seedling all the way to fruit bearing. It's having the conversation when curiosity starts to create that value and then connect for the broader community. So right now, individuals of business mindset, lawyers and so on, and accountants and such are having these conversations with entrepreneurs trying to get their foot wet and tip their toe in there. Broaden their spectrum, challenge them to say, I'm not going to have another conversation with you until you have that business plan. I'm not going to have a conversation with you until you have something that's going to scale this business to a way that is sustainable, that you no longer have to be showing up 24/7, just like a 9 to 5. There's no benefit in being an entrepreneur if you're doing 9 to 9, day in, day out, and own your own business. Does it really have that type of success for you? Right? So challenge those, get a connection to say, how are you going to help your community? I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was in my early 20s, and 100% what I've learned throughout the way is what you said, Lady Abba, failing to plan is planning to fail. So we have to challenge our community, not just to go ahead and put the pen to paper and get them their balance sheet because it gives a check in your pocket, but sit down and give them the resources of other successful people in the manufacturing space, for instance, and help them model their businesses after success, as opposed to starting from scratch. I think I did my time in 1 minute.
Thank you so much. Michael, 1 minute.
That was interesting. So congratulations, I'm going to say once again to CNP. So what you've just done is you've remodeled your I would say not-for-profit, and you already foresee that Council of Nigeria Professional is going to kind of be restrictive. So now you now remove that, which means growth, which means chances that you're going to be working across different communities. So kudos to you. Just one thing, I like to use examples. My friends invited me for a breakfast this morning to Tim Hortons, and they offered me all of this. And I said to them, I'm not going to sit down here and eat Tim Hortons. No, go get a Nigerian restaurant or a Ghanaian or Caribbean restaurant, and let's sit there and have proper, if you really want me to eat, let's have a proper meeting. So patronize local, buy from your brother, buy from your sister, buy from our community, keep the money rolling within, and we'll all be empowered, we'll all be happy. I mean, I'd like to have a discussion with you at some point, Divine. I feel you. We can have a session and I can share with you some ways by which you can help yourself through this phase. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say much. I think we need to, I know our community, we are so divided. I know we have an event like this, and I think we are just 25 or 27 people here. We need to move away from things that really don't push up to the to the next level, and focus on things that really bring us profit within ourselves, that we can develop spiritually, morally, financially, environmentally. We need to move to. I'm telling you that if we have said that Arsenal is playing Chelsea today, and we are inviting people, we'll have everybody by the end of the day. Where does that take us to? So yeah, let's encourage others. We are now online. You don't really need to be doing anything. You can be driving and listening to this and others. So let's tell others about what we are doing. I think CNP is doing a great job. Please check their website. And we also need to identify what people are good at and support them. You know, CNP does some things that I do, but I know they know where I'm good. They know what the Perspective Nation is good. Didier, when we come together and sometimes we improvise, you know, let's identify talent within our community and support that talent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Adosa.
Yes, so I'm going to really talk about creating value and consciousness, which is, I think, one of the add-on to the 3 C's. And I would leave this to us to take home with us, that we should not focus on what we have been through or the challenges that we have, but I think it's important for us to achieve the next step through collaboration. More importantly, networking, knowing your limits, having the willingness to learn, having good mentors, and of course, expanding your skills through volunteering and thinking outside the box, which every entrepreneurship mindset needs to do. And I would also encourage us to think about the hub. It's been said here, it's been said so many places. The hub is a place where mindsets can meet to create transformational change and growth. Our community the community belongs to us. And the only way we can pass generational wealth is to allow our children see us as examples of great community leaders. Thank you, CMP, for this opportunity.
Thank you. We're actually at the last minute. Didier, you're up.
Oh, 1 minute, okay. So now my point here is change mindset. Change mindset, because from everything that we talk about today, we did great up to now. CNP is doing great. And there's some huge and brilliant, let's say, people within the community, but the numbers still showing that we can do better. So how can we do that? Is by changing the mindset, by doing what up to now we didn't do. And that can be done if we can start from as leader, teach to our son, to the kids, right, that they need to go through that kind of change mindset. And for that, I'm sure we can continue to improve and get better, because it won't be easy in front of us. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you again to CMP for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. We are at 8 p.m. I did say when we started that there are 13 ways to kill your community. I actually just posted it on the chat. Please open it to learn some of the things, but I just want to highlight a few things. 1, deceive yourself. Deceive yourself. 2, shopping outside of your community. Number 3, saying that seniors do not matter. Okay. And not being appealing to business. We're not appealing to business. We're not appealing to government because we can't even sustain ourselves. So on that note, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Sheldon Williams. Thank you, Michael Okoli. Thank you, Efwanga Kumber. Thank you, Edosa Adams-Idode. Thank you, Didier Kofi. And to everybody that joined and stayed till the end, thank you so very much. We look forward to, working together. Join us. Check our website, www.cmpngo.ca, for other events that we have. Thank you, and have a fantastic rest of the evening. Au revoir, à toutes les.
Au revoir. Merci.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
CMP. Thank you, everyone.
Merci, merci.
Thank
Have a
you,
great night,
people.
guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Didi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Wow. Very nice, Lady Ava.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. All right. Enjoy your evening.
Will do. Au revoir.